Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So just recently, the saga, if you will, of Keke Palmer and the abuse that she suffered allegedly at the hands of her ex-boyfriend, Darius Jackson, continues. It only gets worse and worse by the day. Now, remember when we were all talking about how her mother had came on to social media, which she usually doesn't do, but she came on in defense of her daughter, because I don't know any mother that's not going to come on to social media or say something, speak out about what their daughter is going through, alleged abuse that their daughter is going through. And she had made some statements after Darius Jackson, which is the brother of Darius Jackson, came on and made that post that he made, basically trying to call him out and say, you been knew that your brother has been abusive. You're also abusive. Allegedly, he learned it from you. Y'all are awful people, basically. And he had the audacity to basically say, oh, well, you better not say nothing to me because I have receipts, allegedly, that I will leak to the internet. Basically what he said, allegedly. He even implied that he had receipts that she had threatened him. Now, they had a video recording, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, just recently there was an article released saying that that recording was questionable because, one, we don't even know if they had the legal right to record her in that house. Like I said, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. It's all allegedly. But there's that, and there's the fact that, first of all, if you've seen the video, because the video is there, I'm not going to play it on this channel, on this video, but the video is there. You can hear Darius Jackson asking where his son is, and you can hear somebody. We can't say that's actually Keke Palmer's mother because we don't actually see her on there. Of course, we hear a voice that is similar to hers, but like I said, we can't say that that's her because we didn't see her on the video. But you did hear somebody saying, be careful, basically, that he might end up with a bullet in his head if he keep messing around. Now, I feel like it's very malicious. It was malicious of them to put that on the internet in response to a mother going to bat for her daughter. Once again, y'all remember that this woman is fighting for her daughter. A lot of people on social media have been dragging Keke Palmer left and right. I've said it before in the previous video. Did she make some mistakes? Yes, she did, just like everybody else does, because we're all human. But to make this about anything other than an issue of a man putting his hands on a woman that should not have happened, let me correct myself, a coward putting his hands on a woman, and it should not have happened, to make it about anything other than that is just wrong. Point blank, period. And this woman only took to the internet and said what any mother would have said in the defense of a daughter who they love very, very much. So my heart goes out to the woman. Like, I can't say I would have done anything differently had I had a daughter. I don't have a daughter, but I know for a fact that if it was my daughter, I probably would have done the same thing that she did. Like I said, I still think it was very malicious of them to try to hold that against her. And to make it even worse, their mother, Darius Jackson and Darius Jackson, got on the internet, had the audacity to get onto the internet, well, not onto the internet, but texted this woman and basically made it seem like she was the absolute devil for what she said, as if her son hadn't been putting hands on this woman's daughter, basically saying, what do you mean he might catch a bullet? And like I said, I don't know if we were all listening to the same audio, but she didn't say she was going to shoot him in the head. She said, be careful, you might end up with a bullet in your head. And I know that that's kind of like petty of me to point that out, but I'm still going to point it out. Okay, she wants to be ridiculous. We can be petty, okay? She really had the audacity to text this woman after her son has been putting his hands on this woman's daughter and say, you know what? How dare you? I heard you said you were going to shoot my son in the head. And, well, if that's the case, you're going to have to take out all of us. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, well, we all know what it means, but what does that mean, ma'am? Like, that could be interpreted as a threat while you're over here talking about you're going to call the proper authorities because this woman has threatened your son after you did absolutely nothing, knowing that this coward of a son that you failed to raise put his hands on her daughter. I mean, she really had the audacity. And then Keke Palmer's mother fired back and basically said, first of all, you need to mind your business and take care of your son and finish raising your son and take that up with your son. Your son, allegedly, as she said, according to her, choked his own sister out. So before you come to me talking about what you gonna do to me, how about you get your son? How about you snatch up your son and get him in order first? And I was like, are you serious? Like I said, this is all allegedly, according to Keke Palmer's mother. But if it's true, like I said, it's allegedly. But if it is true that he put hands on his own sister, that's a whole new low. Like I've already said, he already sunk to a low whenever he did what he did to her whenever he by default put his own son in danger. Because remember the last video that I made, I mentioned that she had mentioned that there was a point in time where he was getting frustrated with their son while changing their son, and that she basically had to get him away from their son. And it was almost like a back and forward, like tussle almost. And when she finally was able to get the child away from him, he still punched her in the head, all allegedly. There was also a moment where she said that he got jealous of the attention she was giving to their son, an 8-month-old. Are you kidding me? So this dude, this coward, not only put her life in danger, was putting hands on her, but low-key put their son's safety and life in danger. And all she has to say is, how dare you say what you said about my son? Well, ma'am, if you would have raised your sons properly to not put their hands on women, or on anybody for that matter, maybe you wouldn't be dealing with this right now. Well, there's no maybe. You wouldn't be dealing with it right now, because she knows good and goddamn well that if it was her sons in danger, she would be ready to do and say the same things to whoever it was that Keke Palmer's mother said to her over her daughter. And that's another thing that needs to be addressed. You've got to be one sorry piece of something of a mama to have your sons out here. And I get it. They're grown men. They have to be accountable for their own actions. But don't think we didn't notice that clearly she didn't, like I said, raise them properly, because they're going out here treating every single woman that they come in contact with that's not her, including their own sister, their own blood, like garbage. So like I said, she's a failure of a mother for not raising her sons to not put their hands on anybody for that matter. I cannot stand women like their mother, like the Jacksons' mother. Like I said before, they are the type of women who put their sons on a pedestal. Their sons can do no wrong in their eyes. They low-key take up for and aid and abet in their wrong. Nothing can be done wrong in their eyes concerning their sons. And oh God forbid that they have daughters. I really feel sorry for their sister. I really do. Because in the depths of my mind, I really do feel like, noticing the kind of mother that she is, she probably didn't even hold her own sons accountable whenever they allegedly, or he allegedly, Darius, choked out his own sister. And another problem with this is people will still say that it's Keke Palmer, that she's the problem, when clearly we can see that it's him, it's his brother, and a raggedy mama for how she failed to raise them properly. Like I said, this just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's just really sad. I think the best thing for them to do is keep him as far away from that child, Keke Palmer, and her family and friends as possible. As I said in the previous video that I made about this situation, it's really sad that our community likes to aid and abet abusers and further abuse and blame victims if you are in a relationship. And this goes for both men and women, because there are some women out there too who will put their hands on men. If you are in a relationship with somebody who is putting their hands on you, if they hit you once, they will hit you again. I don't care if they look you in your eyes, into your soul, and tell you, oh, I'm sorry, baby, I won't do it again. 9 times out of 10, they will do it again. But what you can do for yourself is to make sure that doesn't happen at all. There's no possibility, by getting as far away from them as humanly possible. Now, don't get me wrong. I am aware that it's not always that easy. People look at these kind of situations, and like I said before, they love to say, oh, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't she do that? It's not always that easy. There's a lot of things that go into these kind of situations that a lot of people who have not been through these situations, who've had the fortune, the blessing of not having to deal with this, or somebody who they care about deal with it, they don't know that there's a lot that goes into this kind of stuff, these kind of situations. Although, once again, if you find yourself in these kind of situations where your partner is putting his or her hands on you, whenever you can, however you can, as soon as you can, get out of that situation and stay as far away from them as you possibly can. Now, once you get away from that relationship that's very toxic and abusive, away from that person that's been putting their hands on you, you cannot go back to them. Unfortunately, like I said before, unless you've been in this situation, you've seen somebody go through this before, or you just have any kind of empathy, you would know sometimes in these abusee type relationships, sometimes they end up back together. It's an emotional thing. It's sometimes even a soul tie thing. It's unfortunate, it's sad, but we need to extend grace and mercy instead of mocking and talking about the person that's being abused. Now, as the person that's being abused, I'm talking to that particular group, you need to understand that you cannot help the person that is abusing you. You cannot help your abuser. You cannot help the person that is putting their hands on you. No amount of you loving them, treating them right, letting them have whatever they want from you, letting them run over you, do whatever, is going to change them. You cannot fix them. You cannot change them. Your love cannot change them. They have to want to change. They have to want to do right because they want to do right. You can't force somebody to treat you right. You can't force somebody to not abuse you. So the best thing you could do, like I said, for yourself, especially if you have children, because you don't want them growing up thinking that a partner abusing them or them abusing a partner is acceptable in a relationship. You don't want them growing up with that kind of trauma. So the best thing you can do for yourself and that child, if you do have a child in that situation, is to get out. Like I said, don't be trying to save somebody. Don't be trying to stick with them, trying to make it work, because that'll never work, and it always ends up real bad real fast. And then all of the internet is going to drag you and make you seem like the bad person for trying to stick with them and do right instead of dragging them for abusing you. Forgive them and love them from a very far distance. Hopefully, preferably that distance with them being in prison behind bars. And then move on with your life, heal from your trauma, go to therapy, talk to Jesus about it, have a relationship with God, and move on with your life with people who love you, respect you, and will not hurt you or abuse you. Move on with your life with relationships that are not toxic. I had to get that public service announcement off my chest for people out there, because that's what this channel is about. That's what Yoshi Entertainment is about. Yes, I do in a way report on news. Yes, I do condemn a lot of bad actions, bad behaviors and mindsets, but I'm also out here to help people who might need somebody to tell them these things. But anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think about this and how y'all feel about all of it down in the comments below. Respectfully, don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all have a very blessed and safe day.